All right, I think we're ready. If my voice is a little strange, I have a slight head cold. It is so cold in Kyoto, but we're gonna push on anyways. And I want to get started here by just kind of introducing the topic. So give me just a second. I'm gonna kind of clean up some of my windows here on the side you can't see. Okay. Cool. So here we go. All I want to do today is just play. I'm going to be playing with a tool called Hugging Face, and it's a library that lets you run state-of-the-art machine learning for the web, like in the browser. So I'm just reading from the page here. There's going to be a lot of that today, because all I want to do is just have an excuse to sit and play around with this library that seems like it'd be really cool. And let's just see if we can have some fun with it. I don't know what we'll end up making actually. But at first, I just want to see if we can get some proof of life going. So, um, what can we do in Transformers.js? It lists a few things here. We can, like, all this in the browser, right? We can do natural language processing, computer vision, audio, and multimodal. Automatic speech recognition sounds super cool. I'd love to be able to play with that at some point if we get there. But for now, let's just see if we can get this thing to get going at all. All I've done in advance of this is just kind of look up a few different examples out there on the web already, just to prime my sort of expectations and maybe a little imagination in advance. So here is a repo from Hugging Face itself called Transformers.js examples. And if you scroll all the way down, you can actually see some running examples. So I assume what's probably the hello world of anything like this is going to be sentiment analysis. So, although, yeah, well, let's just go with that for now. I see they have like models that you can talk to as well. Okay, so here you can see that we can just like type in this box and probably it's going to spit out positive or negative as a sentiment. So let's just say, for example, if I wanted to put, I want to say despise, it's already, I don't know, even the desp is already assuming that it's negative. I Transformers.js is positive. That score is higher than I would think. Is it because of there you go, the exclamation point? When it's ambiguous, I suppose, just makes it seem a little more positive. Okay, whatever. So either way, like this is a good starting point. I don't know if we'll actually pull this down, but we could just grab the source code. It looks like, and here it is. So that's maybe one way in. We'll probably kind of go the other route and just do it ourselves. I found another page on DeepWiki that had a few examples. No, I don't want to talk to Devin. You go away. Okay, that's a weird place to put a chatbot, but fine. So we can just kind of have a look at a few quick start examples. Again, look at that sentiment analysis comes up pretty quickly. Custom model selection, which I'm sure we'll try to play around with at some point here. Let's see, device configuration. So you can, you can do web GPU acceleration. We might try that just to see, but at some point I start wondering, like, if between like running live streaming on a MacBook Air M4, like at what point am I? Let's see if the Mac suddenly dies, you'll know why if we did this. So let's see. So anyways, all kinds of stuff that we can do. We can reduce the model size, which is a big deal for, obviously if you're loading this in the browser. I was actually doing something yesterday with, all I was doing was just working with TypeScript LSP, like to do just kind of like linting of TypeScript in real time inside of the browser. And you can really start, I mean, it won't surprise you to hear it, you can really start slowing down your page load times by loading all of those TypeScript linting libraries. But it's, again, like there are times where that's fine. And probably if what you're doing is linting TypeScript in the browser, developers probably, hopefully, would understand that that's a heavier process, and in terms of loading everything you need, give you a little bit of understanding if it's an extra second or two slow. Anyways, I think we'll see a lot of that today. Finally, I was just kind of scrolling around and in search and saw that Raymond Camden's blog came up, and I've had the chance to interact with him a few times over the years. He writes, it never surprises me that anytime I search for something, he's already written an article about it 2 years ago. This is something that we might, again, it starts with detecting sentiment, right? I'm pretty sure this is the hello world of this library, which is great. So I'm sure that's where we'll start too. We'll probably just do exactly this to see it working. I think what we'll do is just kind of like get started. So I thought we'd just start from like nothing. So here we are. I've got nothing in this directory yet. So what we're going to do is make this a little bit bigger. We'll go ahead and create a new directory. We're just going to call this HF Transformers, and let's see what we do. So in order to install, we'll need to do an npm install. We could do this as well, but I think we won't. We'll just do the npm install. So what that means is we'll need to do, let's see. Actually, I'm gonna try this first. I think there's a point where I want to just make a Next.js app and work with that, but just to keep things simple and play around, let's try this first. So what we will do is just do vanilla JavaScript and vanilla HTML, and then we'll get fancier from there. So let's do this. We'll touch index.html, and we'll touch index.js, and then we'll go ahead and open up VS Code from there. Okay. And then let me pull this into here. And we had a snippet that we wanted to grab from the docs, so we'll grab this. Looks like we're looking at the main version. It says if we want to go to the stable version, I think just for safety, let's go with the stable version, and that's Transformers 3.0. Whereas main looks like it was like 3.7 something or something like that. Anyways, I want to have as few surprises as possible while we fumble around with this. So let's see. What would this do? Nope, that's not what I want. So just gonna bootstrap a basic HTML page. You can go here, then body. Okay, fine. I guess whatever that was triggered some kind of warning in VS Code for this being public code, but one would think it would be because it's the most basic web page you can make. So let's do save here, and then I also, let's see, do you remember what? If I have HTTP server installed, I do. And then HTTP server is just like a globally installed NPM module. And It shows all the settings here. Let's see if this opens up. Yep, here we go. So this is just the basic page. It's exactly what you would expect. There's nothing interesting going on yet. So we're gonna pull you over here, and do this. Okay. And then down here at the end of the body, let's also pull this script. Hello world. So if we load this, we see hello world down here. And then instead of doing that, this time we're going to import our sibling script here. So let's see, not app.js, what are you? Index.js. And then index.js, we'll just do another console log to show that where we are. Other world. Great, and that's showing up as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull this inline script out and we'll work in here. But before our script can take advantage of that, we're actually going to need to use that snippet that we saw on the install page. Again, this isn't the way you're going to do it when building an application, but just pulling from the CDN for now, just to be fast, is probably the right move, since I don't want to go through all of the Next.js stuff just yet. So let's see if that yells at us for any reason. These are all favicon, well-known, favicon, well-known. Okay, so those are expected. Cool. Oh, that's just importing a module. I wasn't even paying attention. Okay, so this may not be the way we do this. Let's see. Do this real quick. Okay. Cool, and pipeline gets logged, which is what we wanted. Okay, so we could write the script in here. Why don't I want to move this over into its own page so we're not stuck in HTML the whole time. So let's see this module. Yeah. And then we're going to take this code and put it over into index.js. Okay, same thing is happening, which is exactly what we hope to see. So that means we can get rid of this. And all this does is it gives us a basic HTML page, and then it pulls in this other script, which is in turn pulling in the Transformers.js module, so we can start playing around with that. So now let's go back into, maybe we'll start with just by looking at Raymond's post, because it looks pretty simply laid out, which is exactly what we'd hoped for. So he's showing, interestingly enough, even from 2004, he's showing a version that is slightly ahead of the one that we're using here, which is interesting. We'll keep it at 3.0 for now. And then let's go ahead and grab this. So we're going to await a pipeline call with the string sentiment analysis, and we get a classifier back. And then we can again await the classifier. Look at that. So let's do this, and then we're going to console. So everything tries to autocomplete these days. So before we even get a chance to kind of think it out, it's already there. What we have is, we'll go ahead and clean this up too, so it's a little more clear. What we have here is just create a classifier, and then we call that classifier with a string, await the result, and then we should get a result back. which we should assume is going to be some form of JSON. So let's have a look and see if that's actually the case. Node model specified using the default. Okay. So default seems like it should be fine. Favicon, we can keep ignoring this, and then dtype not specified for this model. Okay, so we didn't get back a result yet. So let's start up here and just see if we even get a classifier back first. So we're gonna console log this and see if we get some sort of classifier back. That's not what we're doing yet. Let's just, this maybe is gonna be like some sort of huge object, but let's find out. Okay, so we're getting something back from, okay, so that's fine. That looks like it's doing what we want it to do. And this time it seems like we got a result. Look at that. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened the first time, but it seems like we're getting a result now. For now, let's take this away. So once again, let me reload this, and then what is the object signature here? So we're gonna go into the 0th element of this wrapping encapsulating array, and then we'll just pull, well, I guess we'll do what everybody does. We'll pull the label and the score for now. So instead of console logging a result, we can do so result 0 dot label. Okay, let's just do this for now. There you go. So this is what we thought we would see. And then of course we can change this. So what we're looking at here is positive, and then we get the score, which is exactly what we've seen in all of the examples so far. So we can again put despise programming and reload it again, and it's negative with a high confidence score as well. So, okay, that's what we thought we would see. Let's see if what else, if anything, Raymond suggests along the way here. Okay, so he goes into things beyond this pretty quickly, which is fine. I want to play around with a little bit more of our options before we move along. So, can we get you out of mobile mode? Thank you. That's still mobile. Hamburger menu. See, I don't want to deal with that, do I? We're going to go back to the top. And so here's all the demos we saw earlier inside of GitHub over here, but they're just right here inside of the documentation, which is nice. Okay. Right. Okay, so here's where we saw some of our options. So let's do this. By the way, we can do multilingual uncased sentiment. I'm curious what multilingual does in this situation, or what languages it will support. Leave it alone for a second though. So this shows how to specify a different model that we could pull in, and then let's see. I don't think we're going to notice a difference here in terms of speed because it's already relatively fast, given that we're not doing much, but I want to see, let's just see if this explodes my computer. It's already not happy about something. But I think this is spelling. Yeah, I have a spell checker. And so you have to add spellings to everything, like spelling library to all the projects if you want to keep that thing happy. It's quite nice sometimes and sometimes annoying. Anyways. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Okay. That might be something to chase down another time. Just to confirm we didn't destroy it for all time, it gives us the answer again. Okay, so web GPU, not happy. That may be a browser support thing or something else. But in our quick whirlwind tour, this isn't worth chasing down. Okay. I'm gonna grab this and just see. So we haven't even tried specifying a model yet. So let's do that. What? Okay. Interesting. Okay, so and then the reason I did that is I also want to make sure that we have a model that we're aware explicitly it supports playing around with the quantization. So let's see, which page were we on there? Okay, so we're gonna do Q4 instead. I just want to see if this option is available to us. It's not really something we're going to deeply explore right now. I just want to see what works, what doesn't, without playing around too much. For whatever reason, passing these optional objects along seems to make it quite unhappy. Are we waiting? Oh, something's trying to load. Ah. Yeah, so it's downloading this model. Which is interesting because we didn't have this level of wait time on the others, so it makes me wonder if it's cached in the browser already since I've been playing around with this before. So we did eventually get the response back, so let's try again. Page load. This might be snappier this time, and it is. Cool. All right, so we're gonna watch this time. We get rid of this, and then presumably that means we're getting, if I remember right, on the page before it defaults to, oh wait, no, it said it in the console that it defaults to 8 when it's not specified. So let's find out, is it going to sit here and download a model again? Interesting. Okay, so that's something to look into, is like when a larger download is triggered and when it's not, because that's obviously going to have huge implications on wait time for a user. But pretty cool. Let's see if there's any other like good, just like quick sort of snap, plug and play kind of things that we can try just for fun, and we'll go from there. So it's showing common task examples. React integration, web worker pattern, browser extension. Node.js usage. So we could just write a script that does this stuff. Next.js server side. Next.js is likely our next stop. Here's the demo site architecture. This is actually I'm super curious about. So let's see. So this is the entry point for users. You have the main, so you get the UI up here, and then the main application or client-side logic. And from that, task handling is handed over here. Worker communication over here. Okay, this is like something fun to play around with at some point. Text streaming as well. All right, so for now, I think we want to get as far as just giving the basic sort of hello world of Transformers.js, which seems to be the sentiment analysis. Let's see if we can give it a quick spin. This is Node.js, which is not what we wanted. We're going to do this next. And let's see, so they have an app directory. There's a classifier here, which uses the client, right? Which is what we would expect. We're loading this into the client, and then, so it looks like by default, we saw this earlier, like when you load that page, you see the string in the UI by default. So they have it here, they set state by default to show I love Transformers.js. Then the UI is showing that text, which you see here. Okay. And then this right here is what shows the results from the model. So we're gonna go ahead and have this thing bootstrap a next app for us, and we're gonna call this HF next. Customize settings. So we're gonna do TypeScript, ESLint, React compiler, Tailwind, and I like the source directory, so this is why I tend to custom. The only thing I'm changing that would be different, I think right now it doesn't default to using source, and I find it useful to help my brain stay organized. So let's let that do things. And go ahead and close this out. Thank you, Vanilla JS and Vanilla HTML. You were super helpful. Welcome back. VS Code. There we are. Okay, so instead of going the route that we did earlier, where we, if we go back to, I guess it was on the installation page, we just pulled this in. Ultimately, what we did is just pull the import for the CDN and use it directly in a script, but instead this time we're gonna import the npm module instead. So let's do that. Okay, and while that's working, let's get rid of a few boilerplate things. So just strip the middle of this out for now. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're good there. And it looks like we've got Transformer.js installed. So the next thing to do is just to start building out that functionality similar to what we saw in the example here. So they have a classifier JS, which means probably in a normal app, I might stick that in like a lib directory. So might as well just do it. So let's see. Slash lib. And then okay. I wonder, when was this updated? 2 years ago. So that would be pre-React 19. Let's just grab this, and then we may have we have an LLM help us out. Wait. Oh, this isn't. I see. Okay, this is actually returning. This is a. I don't know what I was thinking. So just based on the file name, I assume this is a library thing, but this is actually a component. So that's not where we would put that. A couple of things. One, you need to be TSX. Two, where does the components library usually go? I think I'm going to stick it here for now, but I can't remember if I usually stash it under app or not. Components. Okay, everything's happy so far except for a little bit of Tailwind stuff. If that's okay. And then let's see, so what are we exporting here? We're exporting the function, or sorry, the classifier. I want to see where that's used, probably just on page.js. Indeed, so we import it here, and then there's not really, it looks like any special state to handle or anything, just toss, oh wow, okay, so not even any props. So we'll just toss that into, you can go away. Instead, let's do import, what was it, classifier? Oh, that was default, right? Okay, and then it will be mad because we're not using it yet, but that's fine because here we go. Let's do this, and hopefully we see something loaded. Okay, now this is attempting to load, but it's pretty slow. Okay, so somewhere in here we're accidentally loading some HTML. Calling an API. Let's have a look back in that sample code that we just kind of grabbed. Okay, that's why. So this is surely returning the 404 page, which is why, because we didn't make an API yet. So again, where do we stick the API directory these days? For now, I'm just going to stick it at the top level. And then let's go see in the example what they put in their API. Okay, API is a directory, right? So classify. Okay. Route.ts. Oh, yeah, I knew autocomplete was, there we go. Okay, so we have the file and then we'll have a look and see what it's doing here. So it pulls in the library itself, Transformers, and then it's going to, you can see that it's creating that pipeline just like we did before, or it imports it, sorry, and then it creates it here, passing in the same kind of stuff that we did earlier. It's the type of task and then the model, and then there's some other optional stuff that were causing us problems, but earlier that's probably like a next step that we could go in and kind of learn about later. We attach classifier to the global object. Yeah, global this.classifier. Okay, to avoid unnecessary reloads during development. Okay, and then we expose a get handler. So you can see earlier we were making a get request to an API that didn't exist, and Next.js was returning a 404 page, which was, since we were expecting JSON and we were getting HTML, the 404 page instead, that's where our error was coming. So instead we'll have this get handler that since we're passing, so we're passing the string that the user types into the form as a search param. We can just pull that out here, request.nextURL.searchparams.getText, and then same thing as we saw earlier, we pass the text to the classifier, await the results, and then we'll return the response as JSON. So let's just grab this and see how much of it works. As is. Again, we're working with code that looks like it was a couple years old at this point, and some of the stuff has changed, so let's find out. Something is angry already. Okay, that is my TypeScript saying we can't have any type. Normally is true, but okay. This is all TypeScript stuff that we would definitely fix normally, but is not going to stop us from just going crazy here right now. Let's go ahead and reload you. Looks like we still have an issue. So we do have API/classify. Bet, where do they have their API in the sample code? I bet that's inside of, yep, okay. API is under app, and so we're gonna follow suit. Look at that. Now everything is happy. So let's see if that actually gets us what we want though. So it says it's loading, and probably we're doing a big download here. Is that true? Yes. Okay, let's try to get to the heart of what's going on here. So we're gonna do some quick and dirty console logs, request received. Oh, well, okay, so I want to know why that took so long. This is why that took so long. Okay, never mind. So we were doing a giant download. Um, Go away filter. Nope. Right. So once it's loaded, the responses are instant. Let's try another hard refresh and just see. Okay, so at this point, I think we're cached, which is great. I despise rainbows. I love rainbows. Okay, hi, that's great. So it's working, and you can see I just keep relogging this. So it's making a call on keystroke. There's probably something we would do there to maybe, I mean, it depends, right? Like, I'm not sure in a larger application, like what the performance implications would be yet. Maybe this is great because it is kind of fun to see everything updating in real time. And since we're not making a network call uh, to a large language model, it's instant and that feels pretty snappy. So we'll leave it like that. But this is the basic sort of example, right? Let's see if there's anything else in the sample code before we wrap up for today. No, it's CSS. Yeah, the vast majority of this stuff is just like Next.js boilerplate. Um, but it looks like we got the meat of what we wanted. Okay. And I don't know. Let's just. What's the time? So there's a little bit that's left to be desired here, I suppose. Like, I don't know why this is negative or why it would be so confident in this being negative when this is a pretty generic question. So let's try it the other way and just see a different way to phrase it. What time is it, friend? Okay, so this alone like is I think it's gonna require some more playing around to figure out like why this would be negative. Yay! I love what time is it, pal. Okay, not the best. And this is the kind of thing that you would end up zeroing in on. Like, is it the model? Is it, any other number of things that we could. Presumably, there's a lot of stuff that we can go in here and configure, not just the quantization and whether or not we're using web GPU. Um, so that would probably be something we could play around with. But since this is such a contrived example, anyways, it's fine for now. And maybe we'll dig in further another time. But um, I think given kind of just a quick run, it's pretty fun to see like what we can get away with in the browser without really doing much of anything and not having to sign up for any kind of API or anything like that. We just have a model running, and that's pretty cool. So I want to play around with this again another time. Anyways, thanks for putting up with my uh, sort of stopped up head and voice for the day. Thanks for tuning into Mere Mortal Developer. We'll do more of this soon. Bye.